I'd like to remind you all again that we're 8 weeks into this, and we have serologic assays. I think this is unprecedented, and someone needs to correct me if I'm wrong here, but this is unprecedented to have a virus identified, a sequence shared a few days later, PCR assays to be ready a week or so later after that, and to have serologic assays in use 8 weeks into an outbreak. So we are waited with bated breath, as you are, for these serologic studies to be done. And it's a matter of weeks before we start to see some of these results. But we encourage not just China, but countries all over who are interested to know how much of their population is infected, is to start testing.
Hey everybody, it's Aaron Ball. I'm doing these updates every day, cutting together videos that I'm watching in the mornings to try to just send a cross-section of market news, health news, updates about the global economy and what we're seeing from reputable sources. Today is Tuesday, it's Super Tuesday, and we've got a mix of good news and some really tough stuff. The market is down right now 350 points. Let's hope it rebounds. I'll talk about market and what the Fed may do. There's a cross-section of videos in it. Let's get started and dive right in.
Tornadoes touched down, including one that caused heavy damage near downtown Nashville. We're learning that at least 7 people are now confirmed dead in the metro area. Emergency crews are dealing with about 40 collapsed buildings.
Busy morning. First of all, shout out to all of the first responders and everybody struggling in Nashville. It's a really crazy situation after the tornado hit. All our friends, we're with you, we're praying for you. I want to start with President Trump's comments about the status of things and then move into more information about how the virus is impacting certain population groups.
We're working very hard to expedite the longer process of developing a vaccine. We're also moving with maximum speed to develop therapies so that we can help people recover as quickly as possible. We have a lot of recovery going on. We want to see if we can advance that. It's likely that therapies will be available before a vaccine is actually ready, and we'll seek to bring all effective treatments to market as soon as possible. Some very good work has been done on the vaccine, however, and they have some good progress, and you'll be able to ask a couple of questions of the folks here.
We keep hearing that the elderly are susceptible. Who else is susceptible to this?
So we're all susceptible because this is a new virus. But the question is, in who does this become serious? And exactly what you said, the elderly
are more susceptible.
More susceptible to this virus becoming a serious pneumonia and having further complications. So in China, the data that we're analyzing, they found that 15% of those over 80 died. So we're really talking about those over 60, 70, 80 that are really at risk.
Kids are okay?
So what's interesting is that children, for some reason, seem to be less susceptible to this virus, whether it's because they're not getting the infection or because they're not mounting as severe a reaction to it. In addition, those with chronic medical conditions, so those who have chronic lung disease, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, obesity, this is the population of people that needs to be a little bit more concerned.
I'm hearing even from people very close to me that they're always skeptical of the government, the media, the leaders, and we're in these surround sound echo chambers that create, buzz around, can we believe the information we're being fed? Is it a hoax? Is it hype? Is it propaganda? I'm just trying to present from a neutral perspective what's actually happening and the latest about the World Health Organization's evaluations, the CDC's evaluations, as well as what other countries and our own government is saying right here in the United States. The fatality rate, good news is that it seems to be coming down, and this is a video about how COVID-19 stacks up against other diseases.
The official case fatality ratio varies by country. For example, in China, where the outbreak began, it's 3.6%. In Italy, currently the largest outbreak in Europe, it seems to be 2%. And in Iran, 5.5% of people have died. So how does COVID-19 compare to other diseases? This shows how contagious and deadly some of the most well-known diseases are. Now, if the figures are accurate, COVID-19 would be far less contagious than whooping cough and measles and slightly more contagious than flu. It would also be slightly more deadly than flu, but far less deadly than TB and meningitis. But researchers at Imperial College London have used this pyramid to show that not all cases are likely to be included in the current totals. Some people just don't visit their doctor, and some countries aren't good at spotting the virus. So working out the case fatality ratio for COVID-19 is complicated, but currently researchers say the overall fatality rate worldwide is likely to be less than 1%.
I love those SkyNews graphics. The infographics department does a great job. So I want to talk about investing in this market. I've been following what the market's doing. It's extremely volatile. Here is a cross section of the folks that I tend to watch on a regular basis about the volatility and what to do with your investments.
That 1.4% lethality number is much better, of course, than 2% number we've been worried about with this outbreak, which, along with the cessation in the mad buying of treasuries this very afternoon, is a major reason why the market was able to rebound today. Dow skyrocketing 1,294 points. You know, that was the biggest one-day point gain ever. The S&P surging 4.6%, and the NASDAQ pole vaulting 4.49%. Okay, I don't want to be simplistic here, but this market's become ridiculously volatile because it's controlled by fear. That's the physical fear of getting sick, the fear of a slowdown in commerce as people become reluctant to go outside, and the impact of that fear, which is causing investors to hide their money in safe haven treasuries, like safe haven treasuries, which are giving you almost no yield. That's driving the prices up and their yields down. Now, we've seen the most minute changes in treasury yields produce wild swings in stocks these days. We literally had an overnight bull market. The futures were down about 40 ticks when I went to bed. They were up 60 ticks when I woke up at 3 a.m. That's kind of insane. And it tells you about how thin the futures are. It also says that the market is unhealthy. And by the way, today's rally is unhealthy. I don't like to see these kinds of rallies. I don't like to see the big declines quickly. I don't like to see the big increases like this. But it's the actual events driving us in either direction that we have to talk about.
Context. I think in the near term, you have to recognize that we have no idea if the next 5 or 10% is going to be up or down. We're dealing with factors that nobody knows how to predict, that are disentangled from fundamentals. And so in the near term, what you have to think about is sticking with discipline and diversification. That's what we're telling our clients. Don't make any dramatic moves in portfolios. Longer term, I think you have to look at this as an opportunity. We tell investors you need to have a shopping list. You need to think about those things that you want to buy with that long-term time horizon. And we just got a nice discount on a lot of really interesting companies out there.
So into Friday's lows, into yesterday's lows, that would have been the time to implement that. And what about now?
I think what you have to do is you have to recognize you're not going to call a bottom, right?
Yeah.
So when you get days like Friday where you're seeing indiscriminate selling, where you're seeing crazy things in markets like utilities leading on the downside on a risk-off, lower yield day, that tells you that markets are dislocating from fundamentals a little bit. So that's a time to start stepping in. But you want to do it in a multifaceted approach. You want to make sure that you've got the ability to stage into that and recognize that this is a long-term opportunity.
You know, the crazy thing about the trading we've been seeing is that, yeah, nobody wants to call a bottom or step in and ahead of seeing something happen, but things are happening so quickly, these moves are so rapid, that if you're not prescient, if you didn't put your buy orders in on Friday, as a retail investor, you probably missed it. You can't jump in.
I don't know about that. I mean, you may have missed the short-term pop. You tend to see these big up and down days clustered around each other. But what we're thinking about is what is the opportunity over the next 18 to 24 months. And in that case, you know, even a 4 or 5% up or down day isn't going to change the potential returns that you're seeing out over that longer-term horizon.
Sure.
I'm going to make a very bold statement right now. We believe that the Fed, based on the data that we're seeing, will cut rates 50 basis points between Wednesday and Friday of this week. Why do we say this? Blackout period before the Fed meeting starts on Saturday. Today is Super Tuesday. Look at the two-year Treasury yield. Two-year Treasury yield is at 87 basis points. That suggests 1 year from now,
we're 8% off the highs, Gene, and 2 weeks is too long to wait for the Fed to do something.
I think you're seeing data coming out around the coronavirus, around this COVID-19. It's different than anything we've seen before. Other issues that affected the market have either been supply-driven or demand driven. This is both. Consumer spending could be impacted. Supply chains are being impacted. We've never seen this dual hit on the markets before, and we're watching it carefully.
There you have it. We're learning more and more about the virus every day. I want to say thank you and my hat's off to all of the healthcare professionals who are in the line of fire and on the front lines of this rapidly expanding epidemic. Our hearts are with you. Thank you for the great work you do. To the World Health Organization that is working overtime every day and every night. This is what we have hired these people for, why they are here to protect population and to give us information. If you find information that is valuable to you, share it with me so that I can, in our small way, package it up and send it to you out every day. Please like and share this if you want to see more, because the algorithms will make sure it's in front of you every day, and share it with your friends if you find it valuable so that they're informed about what's going on. As always, I'll see you tomorrow. Stay informed, stay healthy, and stay in touch.